Tears welled up in her eyes as she heard her grandson's words. He claimed to have seen his mom and dad while they were out for the day. Just the thought was enough to make the older woman cry. It had to be his imagination. That was the only rational explanation. She turned toward the ice cream stand he pointed to and her jaw dropped. Nothing made sense. This wasn't possible. It had been a long time since Amanda felt a sense of happiness pervading her home. The kids' bags were packed and everything was finally ready. The house was tidy and it was time to bundle into the car as Santa Monica beckoned. It was meant to be a trip to the beach, just a simple outing, but one that meant so much to the poor kids who'd lost so much. Amanda had no idea that the trip would end up changing their lives irrevocably. Amanda Harrison had planned the trip a long time. The beach wasn't her favorite place in the world, but she knew that her grandkids would appreciate the chance to spend a much-needed vacation in California. It had been a rough year to say the least. Her daughter and son-in-law had passed away under suspicious circumstances the year before. Just like that, her two precious grandchildren had been left orphaned. It happened while Kate and Carmine had been driving. It was meant to be a trip to a national park. All Amanda knew after was that the couple's car had gone off the road and disappeared under a lake before anyone could help. The police managed to salvage the wreck, but the couple's bodies were never found. It was a huge loss for the family, especially young Monica and Andrew who'd lost their parents. It was never the plan, but now the children were forced to live with Grandma. It was almost a year to the day since that fateful event. Amanda had begun seeing the first flickers of life returning to the kids' eyes. It had been a horrifically difficult time for them, but they were beginning to finally smile again. Amanda planned the trip as a means of moving on and starting a new life. Instead, just when she thought the nightmare was slowly ending, a new one took its place. Arriving in Sacramento, Amanda and the kids didn't even bother checking into their hotel first. The kids were so excited about the beach that they headed there. Neither had ever seen the ocean in real life before, so it was a special treat for them. The kids rushed onto the promenade with Amanda trying her best to keep pace with them. They were so thrilled at the sight of the water. However, things soon took a disturbing turn. Amanda had just reached the sand and set down some towels for herself and the kids. She was looking forward to relaxing while the kids played in the water. Andrew had just left her side when he returned shortly after. She could tell that something was wrong from his expression. He pointed toward an ice cream stand and insisted that he'd seen his parents buying ice cream there. Amanda's eyes welled with tears at his words. The little boy was clearly still grieving. It was the only logical explanation for what he saw. At least that's what Amanda thought. Amanda began to choke up as she tried to break it to the little child that he was mistaken. It had finally felt like they were coming to terms with the loss. Now Amanda wondered if Andrew was in denial again. Trying as she might to calm him, he continued to insist that he'd seen them. Amanda turned in the direction he pointed and felt like all the air had left her body. She couldn't believe her eyes. There was a young couple at the ice cream stand. Amanda thought she was hallucinating at first, but just as Andrew had said, it was them. How could this be? Amanda's mind began to race. She called Monica over and held the kids close to her, unsure of what to make of it all. She kept the kids at her side and quietly began to follow the mysterious couple. She had to know if it was just a mistake or a trick of the mind. The resemblance was uncanny. Amanda and the kids followed the couple and watched as they left the beach. They soon reached a suburban neighborhood, but Amanda still wasn't able to get a better look. They approached a house and it seemed like the couple lived there. Not knowing what to do as they went inside, Amanda called the police. Luckily, the cops took her call seriously and dispatched 2 officers. The officers heard her story and escorted them to the house. As they knocked, Amanda and the kids held their collective breaths. It all happened in a heartbeat. Just a few minutes after the officers entered the house, they walked out with Carmine and Kate's doppelgangers who were now wearing handcuffs. One of the officers came close to shocked Amanda and told her that the 2 members of the couple were suspects in a case they'd been trying to solve for months. He assured her that she would receive a phone call from the station in the next few days telling her about the details. As it turned out, that was really Kate, Amanda's daughter. But the man wasn't Carmine, it was his twin brother Albert. While Carmine had always been known as a kind, brilliant, hardworking man, his brother was the opposite. He was the black sheep of the family, sort of a drifter, and he would always be in and out of county jail and coming up with schemes and lies to leech off his brother's hard-earned income. One day, he decided to go even further. He seduced Kate, who was rumored to only be interested in Carmine because of the fortune he'd made thanks to his entrepreneurial spirit and committed work ethic. However, she found him meek and spineless. In contrast, Albert promised her a life of excitement and adventure together. The 2 of them had conspired to get rid of Carmine. They gave him a fatal dose of sleeping pills, threw him in a lake, and faked a car accident to avoid raising suspicions and start a new life together with fake identities. But in the end, they got caught. Amanda felt her whole world crumbling down when she heard this. How could her daughter be capable of something like that? She couldn't help but feel that she'd failed as a mother. And the poor kids! They still didn't know the truth. Would they ever be ready to learn the real story about what happened to their parents? But after mourning for a while, Amanda realized something. In a way, the outcome could have been way worse. Had their parents stayed together in a loveless and abusive marriage, the kids would have suffered its effects. And God only knew in what ways their conniving and cunning mother could have influenced them. Now they could start a new life. Amanda promised herself that she would do everything in her power to raise her grandchildren properly and serve them as a righteous example. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.